I'm going to talk about hardcore. Yes, I will talk about it again. Today I wanted to focus on the topic of the difficulty of hardcore game mode and if it should be buffed. Because hardcore has been made a little easier with recent bug fixes in there, and the second void reaver being just removed, but that's about it. However, hardcore is still pretty much the same when it comes to the early game. The strategy is still the same, and the hardcore difficulty pretty much comes from the early game and the price inflation, and also the limitation of the towers you can actually use in the early game. You can only use the ace pilot, maybe sniper, and military base or executioner for the early game because of the LEDs, of the hiddens, and you cannot use anything else. But wave 50 is still the hardest wave, and having only one void reaver, it made hardcore much easier, but I still have no idea if it was a nerf or a buff, because the third phase has a lot of health and it can just void reaver is faster than Fallen King at the final phase, so before it was stuns, now it's the third phase of the void reaver being the third. Now there have been some people claiming that hardcore is too easy or like hardcore is easy. You see people winning it in duo and beating it under like 31 minutes. Now I personally think hardcore shouldn't be buffed. In all honesty, it should actually get nerfed. If you look at the badge stats, you can see that over like 2 million people have level 50, but only around 57,000 people actually beat hardcore. This means that only around 3% of the people who can play hardcore actually beat it. This number is very low, and this number also includes the people who beat hardcore using glitches like military base 1 or the cash wave 1. I don't really mind people using glitches to win, because well, it's not my game, but people also claim that people who claim that it's too easy also are the people who most likely use the strategy document. There is nothing wrong with using the strategy document to win hardcore, but I have a problem when people claim hardcore is too easy while winning hardcore by using other people's strategies, because it's like, it's just weird. Winning hardcore, however, with a bunch of random people in the public lobby is pretty much impossible, which is a huge issue in my opinion, because like in Fallen mode, Molten mode, you can just win with basically with random people from the lobby. You cannot do that with hardcore. The game mode should be made much easier for the early game, but for the price of making it more difficult for the mid game, because in the mid game you just basically wait. If you get through wave 25, you just don't do anything but wait and spam towers, and maybe use call to arms, but that's it. That's all you do. And people beating hardcore like duo-wise, getting to wave 15 solo and people beating it in around 30 minutes is totally fine, since most of those people are like top players. You won't see a random person just beat hardcore in like 31 minutes on its own on his first try. And so yeah, that's about it. Hardcore is still pretty much, in my opinion, too difficult and should be nerfed somehow. Something about the price inflation, like instead of it being 50%, it should be like maybe 40, maybe 35% instead, so the early game isn't as painful.